So I'll call us to order again. We're called to order in the meeting of the Cook Grand Marais Park and Recreation Board. We have present a quorum. We're missing Commissioner Nesham, who said he was somewhere else, and we haven't heard from Commissioner Schulte yet. But we have a quorum. So, looking first at the proposed agenda, is there anybody who wants to add anything or change anything? That being so, the agenda is approved unanimously. Same with the May minutes. Does anybody want to change anything that's in there? Okay. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Did we learn anything more about the bear? No. Okay.
Looks like we've got Paul now as well. Great.
Excellent. If there's no objection, the minutes are approved as distributed. Okay, we've done that. Next item is the golf report.
Hello? Can you see me and all that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, let's see, I guess just coming out, finishing the month here, we were basically looking at the numbers. Looks like we're up maybe 20% from last year. And we started earlier. I guess the difference is with last year we started later. We didn't have probably as much labor charges. The crew was none as early. But this year we've done a bunch of things here. We started earlier at the beginning of May, and we thought it was going to be an earlier break in the weather, but it kind of changed back more towards normal. I guess we opened around the 10th, and we've had some bad weather here, some rain days. We've had quite a few rain days here, but anyway, the course has come back really, really well, and so things are back rocking, and we're good. Like I say, we're up 20%, so that's good. What else? Well, we've been doing some things like our chemical storage area. We changed that. It used to be about 4 feet tall, a 4 feet tall room. So we've got that enlarged that to regular people size, and so that was one of the things we've done. We did some remodeling. We did this office. We redid well, I guess we kind of took a storage area out behind the kitchen and converted it into a passable commercial kitchen area so that we could upgrade our liquor license. And all that, everything has been done for that. I guess we're dealing with the city, the county, and the state. And I had to take a test or a class and a test for food management. And so everything's passed, everything's paid. We're just waiting. I've been calling every day. Last week when I talked to the Department of Alcohol, the head guy there was telling me he thought maybe Wednesday, which would be tomorrow. And I sent him an email today, and he said no, not yet. So we're just waiting for it every day. I've been in contact with our suppliers, telling them we're ready to go. So that's it's going to be a big deal here, having beers and stuff that people like. But we're painfully waiting on that.
How's are you
Yeah.
doing the food yet?
Well, we've got like a pizza scenario installed for making pizzas, and so we're going to start with that. And we've got our hot dog, those jumbo hot dogs that we do. So that's kind of we're going to start with that. And then I think we could, it wouldn't be too hard to add to the menu after that. We'll just kind of see how it goes and see how much activity we have. Sometimes when I think about, when I'm daydreaming about things and thinking about things, I'm thinking, well, we had like a lot of money, we could actually convert that support scenario, we had into a 3-season scenario, and if we had a food place up here, it'd probably be, I'm just wondering if it'd be, really busy, because it'd be like the first place up the trail. For food, I think, we might, well, we're going to kind of experiment here and see what we get. We might get some traffic from some county workers or from the lumber mill, or people stop by for lunch. It's more convenient.
I assume
So
there's some plan to let the people along the trail know that we now have food and drink?
Well, yeah, the plan is to get things for a license to get the materials in here. We're just, like I say, we're going to start serving pizzas, just a regular clientele, get a feel for that, and see how that goes. Just kind of get our little toes in the water and see how that goes. And then, we can always make bigger plans. I don't want to make bigger plans that don't work out, especially with food. It's so wasteful, that way. But yeah, I mean, it's intriguing to think about. It'd be a different scenario, but when we're sitting here on rain days, if you had a food business going, it'd be additional business. So like today, this morning, it was foggy, wet, and rainy, and it was dead here. We had a few members that played in the morning. That was about it, and the sun came out, and the place is. I just barely snuck in here for this meeting, so we've got people coming in, visitors from out of town that are in town, and then come up and play golf here, and then a few more memberships joining. So yeah, it's great. Our membership's up. We have the North Point outfit down there. They kind of the youth group down there that they're dealing with some kind of a grant, I think, and they've got like 32 members in their group, and they've got memberships for, their youth memberships. They don't cost as, they aren't really in the same park as regular memberships for revenue, but it gets a lot of people involved in the game, so that's really great. And they're going to be starting their thing next Monday. I think noon or 1 o'clock is when they're coming in, and so that's going to be neat. And then I had a note from Paulina Bergstrom that she's got she wanted to post for the women's league, and that would be starting up that same day, maybe in the afternoon or about 5 o'clock, I'm guessing. And so yeah, things are going pretty well for just all things jump out in the spring. It's very busy. We've been real busy and trying to add staff here, and we had a good guy that David sent up to us, actually, and he lives just right down the road from here, Mike Bartz, and he's joining us. He came in for 1 day training already, and then he's going to be back tomorrow, and he's going to be on their schedule, and so that's good. And Tony Lott's going to be coming in, I think, the middle of the month, and so that's good. Right now, I've got a program that I'm trying to work with for my budget, where I can plug in all these times and make sure that I'm not going to get in trouble there with all these employees, because my idea was to have more employees just doing less days, so that I was going to have a pretty good crew to draw from, and then if somebody has some place to go, a personal event or whatever, someone else can grab their day, and that's been working out pretty good. It's just the only part for us is the early part of the season. It's been challenging with all the things we have to do. So, extremely long days for me and some of the other guys, but the crew is really doing a good job. I mean, they're really amazing. The course looks great, and everybody knows what to do. It's really neat to see it all in place. It's been fun, and the fun is kind of seeing people enjoy the game and all that, and seeing the course. We had Jerry Persons had come up and put in our flowers here last week, so those are in place, and those will be looking a little better each week. It doesn't take too long. They start flowering up pretty good, and then throughout the season they just kind of get more and more amazing. So we take good care of the water and all that stuff. So other than that, we've got Hunger Hero Scramble is coming up. That's on the 11th, which is next Tuesday, a week from today. And so we need some more teams. We're about, and this happened to us last year where, guys were just slow to sign up. It did fill up, but we need to get it filled up early as we can. Probably we're going to have a deadline of that by Friday. We've got probably need about 5 more teams. And so we need to kind of get some people reacting to that so that we can get that to happen.
If Marais hasn't listed us as playing, we plan to.
Okay, well, I'll take a look after the meeting, and if you're not on there, I'll put you on. But that's what I'm saying. This is how it goes. It's all kind of last minute, and we have to get things sorted up because these guys are coming from, they're coming from Silver Bay, and they're hauling some equipment with them and stuff for making the thing happen. So, we need to kind of fill it in and make it a successful thing for them.
What's the starting time for that event?
5 o'clock.
Okay, and it's 9 holes, right?
Yeah, 9 holes. And then after that, we have we grill some burgers and brats and some other stuff to eat. And we did that last year. It was a nice day and it went over great. So we want to continue to do that. We like to do more of that if we can get the hang of it. If it's the main thing is to get a continuum of players. I've seen us be real successful in other venues, where they have a monthly best ball thing. Everybody just starts coming to it because there's different ways you can win. You don't have to be just the best player. They have different flights and different things you can win. So that makes it just fun to go play. And then there's the food afterwards that makes it a good deal for everybody. So I think if we can kind of make this thing happen, then I think it's something we could attempt to try to do it once a month. And so that's kind of the goal with this thing. But other than that, I can't think of anything. Our irrigation, we haven't had much use for it. We did fire it up. We had last year a number 1 pump went out. So that I've been doing some research on different systems, and because it's double from irrigation, it's a key component here. And but we loaded our system and fired up the number 2 pump to kind of get things loaded up. And then we tested, got the heads, everything pressurized, and started running some heads. And we tried out just for kicks. We tried hitting the number 1 motor, and it turned on. So it was working. I don't know what the rhyme or reason for that is. I probably need to talk to Arrowhead and see if we have some power issues out here. I don't know. But, we just need the system is just barely enough power to really do the whole, what it's supposed to do. So we need to make sure everything is going all the time so we don't get cut. We heat spell with 1 pump, that sort of thing. And plus replacing those components costs, some significant dollars. Other than that, the only other thing that comes to mind is when I get some spare time, I need to get some current quotations on cards. And we really need to continue our card purchasing. We were kind of doing 3 cards for a while. Prices have increased and all that stuff, but we need to continue that. We've got 5 cards that we keep in play that are hooked. And they're just hanging by a thread. One of them we start kind of taking them out of service because there's little things that we don't want to happen in the course. Like one, we're going to have to replace the clutch system in it because it just spins out and won't really take off till it hits full power, and then it just spins out. There's all sorts of works with these things, but so
There were maintenance issues with the electric carts?
Well, last year we replaced all the batteries, because they were 5 years old, and they were starting to,
Apart from the batteries, I mean.
we had the older carts, so now, we'll have a flat tire. Last weekend, when we broke a leaf spring, stuff like that happens. I mean, new carts we have, like our oldest new carts are probably just coming off their warranty, which was 4 years. And we've had not even a flat tire. I mean, it's really nice. And they're great. And, it's a good experience for people to have that. We don't like people calling us from the 8th hole telling us the car broke down and that sort of thing. So, anyway, I understand the situation here, but I trying to just keep adding to those that have, continually need to probably get another 6 carts in here to get by. I'll kind of get a quotation maybe on 3 more, and then talk to Mike and see how it equates, and if we can kind of keep things progressing like they have been. They've been getting a little bit better as far as revenues. I mean, we're not in the black or anything, but we're hanging in there and we're keep improving. So we're just maybe our food situation might help a little bit, but I don't think anything's ever going to skyrocket us into a new category. But as long as we can keep aiming, I guess that's positive, And the people that come out here to play, they're having a good experience and they're happy.
Does anybody have a question or comment for Paul?
I just think it sounds like you're doing a great job, Paul. So thank you for all your dedication to the golf course.
Yeah, well, I appreciate. Yeah, it's fun up here. My background was in distribution for chemicals and fertilizers. I wrote a lot of programs and we distributed specialty equipment. Well, I've known a lot of superintendents. Mike Davies, was a really good friend of mine for all these years, and so it's kind of it's fun being able to implement all these programs that I've written and stuff, and see how they work, and the grass looks great. The course looks great, and of course, like I said, our crew is they really do a good job. It's really fun to work with them, and it's been good. Yeah, really happy.
I agree with you that the course is generally in good condition. I have one concern, and that is with all the rain the last week or two, in the last couple of days, there was a lot of what appeared to me to be water damage to the course. And I was thinking that perhaps you guys might want to kind of survey the course to see if there's any way we can improve the drainage at various points to reduce the number of times that the water kills the grass.
Well, what happens there is that we can tell people no carts today, which that affects our revenue, people's experience, and that happened just before the holiday. And the holiday coming up on Memorial Day, we had to make a decision. We made a decision to let them on. We directed them a certain way to go. There's one, hole number 2 in particular, we knew it was going to be bad. It was really bad. I mean, but this extreme weather, what it does is it points out the things you need to do. Like if we have extreme dry weather, it tells us weaknesses in our irrigation system. This kind of weather, this wet stuff, that tells us, it makes us think about cart paths and stuff like that. In fact, Dave, I was going to say that I had made some calls reaching out to different people that might have state bids. I heard somebody who's going to be resurfacing the Gunflint Trail. And then your project down there is going on too. But we'd like to get a hold of all those, if there's any extra tar tailings that they shave up and remove. We'd like to have those up here, and then we'd like to start converting those into cart paths, So I reached out to Northland down in Duluth because they get a lot of contracts, and they said KLM had it. I talked to Noel there. He was supposed to direct me with somebody else, but I hadn't heard from him. I need to follow up on that because, we just want somebody to dump off a huge pile of those tailings in our parking lot, and then we can start, designing some paths that'll. Excuse me. When we're out of when we're out of when we're this that, we can, have overpasses that can continue to use the card and not totally, worry about getting stuck or that sort of thing. Yeah, so that's kind of the thing that we're looking at.
Okay, anything else? Okay, thank you, Paul.
Okay, thank you.
Now, I see we have a guest here who's probably here to promote the special event application of Fisherman's Picnic. Is that right?
Correct. I'm just here to make sure there's any questions or anything I missed. Bob Spry used to handle all this stuff, and it's kind of landed on all of our laps this year, so I'm just ensuring we're learning the ropes now, that we're trying to document as much as we can now. Everything moving forward and make sure that what we have for future Lions, they're going to be able to more easily adopt. But currently, we just had no directions or documentation, so this was my first foray into filling out this application, and I just wanted to make myself available if there's something I needed to redo or any questions you had about it.
Before he goes on, is there any objection to taking the agenda item involving him out of order so he can go when we're done?
Not a bit.
Okay. David, is there anything you want to tell us about this? Is it different materially from previous years?
Not so much, and this is Pete Kavanaugh, by the way.
Yeah, well,
Hi,
I knew
introduce
he'd
myself.
get introduced sooner or later.
I'm sorry. Hi. Nice to meet you.
Nice to be men at our ages.
Yes.
No, this is standard stuff, Fisherman's Picnic, special event application. Basically a, boilerplate type of thing from what is submitted every year. The Lions do an excellent job of hosting the Fisherman's Picnic. It basically shuts down most of downtown. So they are, I think applying for multiple permits with streets and sidewalks usage. The park usage is in principally Harbor Park as they set up the stage and the vending and the food and all that is kind of focused around the Harbor Park neighborhood. So that's your position for.
Did Pete get a copy of last year's application?
Probably.
We did, and, we filled it out based on that previous
Okay, that was what I was hoping for.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's really standard stuff we're used to dealing with every year. There's extra picnic tables that we provide along the end of First there out front of the trading posts, kind of create a food court atmosphere to support the vending, and then do, garbage and that sort of business gets stepped up a bit, but we're used to all this. They order up and provide numerous porta potties throughout the event.
And those have been ordered. And the same number as last year, although Carlene told me that if, we need to add a couple more, kind of with the construction that's going on, and we've got this new trailer that's going to be going where the porta potties used to be. Not sure how that capacity is going to play out, but Carlene said they can turn around and give us, more porta potties if we need them. We're not anticipating that, but it's good to know that they can get them there if we need to get a couple more in there, so.
Yeah, I guess the only other question I'd have was the idea of the fish burger stand and the setup and the duration of that, as there was a pilot project last season to put it down a few weekends prior to the picnic and operate on some of the end of July weekends.
Yes.
And I don't see that in this application. Is there any intent to try that
Yeah,
again,
thanks for bringing that up, and I'll have to coordinate with Todd Smith on that, and I'm sorry we missed on that. I thought that he had already done that. My understanding from our last Lions meeting was that he was going to do the preceding 2 weekends again, but there may have been some concern that we weren't going to necessarily have the volunteers. We're a little bit lean on volunteers, so I'll have to consult with them and see if we need to resubmit or submit another one for those weekends. Our food permit from the Minnesota Health Department allows us to have 10 total days. So the 4 days of Fisherman's Picnic, that still allows for 6 additional days under our permit. And so we were going to try and raise some more revenue selling fish at least for 2 more weekends. And it did raise significantly more money for us last year having that option. But I will talk with Todd Smith, who's kind of running that part of things, and get back to you on that.
Yeah, there's time. We could consider that at the July meeting. it would almost be a new or separate event application for, the idea of the fish burger stand on
Okay.
the weekends in July. We can review that in July, once it's confirmed.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, and it would be good to talk to Mr. Smith and get the application in right away, just so there's nothing falling between the lines and you're not stuck doing it at the last minute.
Absolutely, yeah, no, I would expect that we would get it in by at least after this next meeting next week on the 12th.
Perfect.
But likely, actually, he and I are going to be together doing a music event on Friday, so I'll have ample opportunity to talk with him prior to that, so.
Great.
And you as a board can consider this and basically give a pre-approval. I could administratively approve the application.
It's okay with me
Right.
if you want to.
Yeah, my question, the only other question I was that it doesn't mention the stage or anything like that, or music, or how late the music can go in the evenings, things like that. Is that usually described in here?
Yes, under the special facilities, that often shows up.
Okay, so we missed that, and
Yeah.
music this year will be similar as last year's, and I can revise that and add that in there, but we are gonna get the stage from the fire and rescue building up there like we have in previous years, set that up. We do have the Lions International blanket insurance policy that, is gonna cover all that, but the music will run from 11 in the morning until 9 o'clock at night. We're not going to 10 the way we have previous years. That final music act is only going to be doing 2 hours. But otherwise, essentially, and I can get that revision on there.
Is that on the
I think we
street?
can approve it as that request is a request for an amendment to add those things, right?
Yes, sir.
I would think, yeah, Dave, you can approve all that stuff, as long, it's just, I didn't see it in there, so I was curious.
I'm just saying, we agree already with the
Yep.
9 o'clock music time and the stage and things.
Yep.
So, and if we have a motion to delegate to Dave the right to,
So moved.
I'll second it, but I still have a couple questions.
okay, well then, that's what, ask your questions.
Is the stage on the street? Is that where it is?
No, it's right in Harbor Park there.
Right there.
Yeah,
Like
right,
where the other event, or like at the North Shore Collaborative, when they do the stage back there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great.
It's kind of front
Yeah,
and center out on the granite sand.
yeah, not like the old days when it was on the street, yeah.
Yeah, I got to experience that when we first moved here in 2008. It used to be right in front of the tavern, kind of right
Yeah.
there is where they had it.
Right,
and-
yeah. My other question about this one is who's in charge of the fireworks now, when Bob's gone?
Kim Linnell, and actually Lion Mike Ryden got his licensure now. So
Cool.
he's going to be kind of filling the shoes of Bob now. Both Kim and Mike have worked with Bob for the past, for at least 3 years. So they're really grandfathered in, so to speak, knowing it well. But Mike passed his test, so he's going to get his registration. Unfortunately, I just found out from Kim today that they neglected to get Mike his registration is passed, the fact that he passed this test through to a necessary channel. But that's okay. We have a fallback with the gentleman in Two Harbors who will come up and be observing. So they'll be covered legally with his registration number. But we're all staged now. I've got the application complete. The quote has been provided by R&J Productions for the fireworks. And we're ordering both the July and Fishman's Picnic fireworks this week. So we'll be all set with fireworks.
Nice.
Okay, anything more? Is it time to vote? All those in favor, aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign. There being none, it's passed unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Kavanaugh.
My pleasure. Thank you
Appreciate
very
your
much.
work
Thanks
on
for
the
getting me in.
community's
Really.
behalf.
You guys have a great day.
Thanks,
you
Pete.
too.
Thanks.
Since Craig isn't here, is there anything you want to report to the city council, Dave? No. Okay. You had some in the parks report about how the city building's been torn down, right?
Not so much, but we all see the big hole.
Right. Well, I read something, maybe it was in the newspaper, that they're working on a geothermal system underneath it. And it requires some artistry in terms of the order you do things.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm not involved in the City Hall project that intimately, but it's definitely active and every day looking and down there and seeing the progress. And I know so the contractor who's on site right now that was doing demo and dirt work, KTM, is the same crew that's been selected for our paving project. So there's some like familiarity there with the boss, and we're just staying up to date on how things are going at City Hall. It seems okay, but not excellent. As any big project unfolds, there's
Yeah.
unknowns. And
Right.
I did notice they found some peaty soil that they have to remove. which
yes, and
I-
possible bedrock, and there's, yeah, you never know when you're digging,
Well, we know there's bedrock around here.
you know.
So there was no basement to that before,
No,
so that's what the
Yeah.
digging is finding, okay.
yeah, and the footings are gonna be newer and deeper, and then the finished elevation of the first floor is gonna be higher than the previous building due to that propensity to flood out.
Oh, right.
The-
It's cheaper to build into the air than it is to dig into the ground.
Yes.
Yes, good. Okay, well, the city council report being done, that moves us to the parks report.
Well,
You're
so,
on.
yeah, thanks. So similar to Paul's theme of rain and more rain, you know, the May is just, I can't believe the rain we've had. So we're open, we had everything online as planned. Bathhouses in May were slowly open. You know, I think we reported a month ago that we had kind of a softer opening because it's not that busy in early May. We had just a few bathhouses open. But once the Memorial Day weekend was upon us, it was busy, and we opened all 4 bathhouses. The La Grande Nord bike race came to town, and many bikers stayed at the park. We've seen this trend over the years where Memorial Day weekend's typically soft. Before the bike race, we would never sell out, especially tent sites, right? It's rainy, it's cold, it's just not good tent camping weather in May. So we've always been a big fan of this bike race for filling in the gaps and selling out the tent sites. And so those riders were in the park on Friday night of Memorial Day. Pretty good weather for that weekend as well. So we had just a fun weekend with the bikers. They didn't get too muddy, too wet. The bathhouses stayed clean, and that was a success. But then everybody checked out on Monday. You know, it was like 130 check-ins on Friday. And so, you know, we only reserve 150 sites. So to give you an idea of scale, we had 130 check-ins on Friday, Memorial Day, and then 130 check-outs
Wow.
on Monday.
Busy days.
Yeah, so everything checked out. It's always that time of everybody plugging in, and all the picnic tables and grills and everything that sort of, you know, wanders in the off-season. We put to the test, and we passed well, and the staff's done well, and I'm quite pleased now to be up to speed and into just what was normal season. Now, peak season is for rates, June, July, August, September. Still a bit soft right now, of course, with all the rain. We've just had cancellations, tent sites in particular. School's still wrapping up, and so still
So
pretty
how's
soft.
firewood?
Yeah, firewood's been selling, actually. We put up a big stockpile in the March and April, and we're mowing right through that. But it's been tough to mow, as you see, like, as I'm sure everyone's experiencing, just a lot of rain and not a lot of sunny days to mow. But team's doing great, staff's just enough. Custodial staff in particular is great, dedicated. We might still have the need for an office clerk, front desk clerk for weekends, but we're getting by. So the other big news that we've just alluded to, the 8th Avenue paving projects ago, as far as I know, we put that out for bid. We're working with the county because of state aid road fund dollars. It's kind of a lot of red tape, a lot of bureaucracy, MnDOT, DNR, county, city, and you can imagine the agencies here. And so fortunately, we had successful bidding at the beginning of May, and that the bids were opened on about the 14th of May. We had 3 bids. The typical players, Northland, KGM, and KTM. And the bids range from about $130,000 to $200,000, which is quite, I think, reasonable. The probable cost of estimate, which is like the engineer's cost, was around $120,000. So Robbie, the county engineer, was like, oh, anytime that comes in within 10% of the engineer's cost, he's happy. And so KTM was the low bid at 129 and change. City council last Wednesday approved that bid, but there's contracts and county-city collaboration now to get KTM under contract. We also have to provide a full-time inspector because of the state aid road fund requirements. There's additional expense that'll be out of pocket from the city side to have an inspector on the site for the week or 3 that this takes. But it's all lining up to get this done this month.
And so describe exactly how much they're laying.
Yeah, so it's a
Where?
mill and overlay of 8th from the corner of 61 to the new boat launch parking lot.
Wow.
Yep, about a quarter mile.
Speaking of the milling, was Paul talking about using the product
Yeah,
of
I'm
milling?
glad you mentioned that, because I'll talk to Tim from KTM and see if we can get that up to the course.
They have to have someplace to dispose of it. This way, it wouldn't cost them anything, would it?
I'll definitely work with the contractor on this.
Heck of a deal.
So it's gonna be disruptive, it's milling, which is, grinding off the old asphalt, it's dusty and dirty and loud, and we've told all the campers it's coming, particularly the seasonals, that's along 8th Avenue is
Sure.
kind of a seasonal neighborhood on either side, and so there'll be some excitement for the
How
week or
will,
3.
when they're milling the upper part of it in particular, how will cars get in and out?
The plans and the specs call for like single lane flagged
Got it.
traffic. Yep, there'll be a flagger, there'll be single lane.
Okay,
Does an inspector, work along with the crew? Like, if they're here full-time, or they just are standing around? That's the people standing around watching. Huh, interesting.
I suppose in the old days, some contractors used to thin their cement so much that all the curbs in Minneapolis,
Yeah.
died in the 50s and
Yeah.
60s.
Huh.
That's true, it's part of, the inspector does material testing as well, so the batches of bituminous are spec'd out, and it's assures for a quality job.
So you're not sure on the start date yet?
Not exactly, start date has not been pinned down. We want to get a pre-construction meeting in order in the next week with KTM and the county and us, and so we'll know, I would hope, in a week on a start date. I've been in touch with KTM though, and they're ready to go, they're just waiting on contracts and us. So I'll keep pushing. The portable restroom trailer's open, I don't know if
Looks
people had a
good.
chance to see it on the way out to Artist
I've seen
Point.
it, haven't
I've
been
seen
in
it, yeah,
it.
it looks good, but.
Yeah, so it's.
So
we got it-
how many toilets, there's 2?
Yeah, no, it's like 3 doors. There's a men's compartment, which has a stall, a toilet, and then 2 urinals and a sink.
Yeah,
And then there's a ladies' compartment that has 3 stalls and a sink.
gotcha.
And then
Okay.
there's the ADA family compartment with just 1 toilet and 1 sink.
Gotcha.
So it's, the total of what we calculate to be 7 receptacles, but, it's men's, women's, and ADA. We got it in place the week leading into Memorial Day, about Tuesday. We brought it down to the parking lot of Boulder Park, leveled it, got the power connected, primed the tanks with some, water and deodorant, and plugged it in, and then everything seemed to work. It was pretty rewarding, or a big relief, obviously, to have it in
And it-
place, plugged in
yeah.
and functioning. But then we put some finishing touches on it, did a RV carpeting, and then just now added some little wooden decks to get in and out of the men's and women's stalls. The ADA has a ramp. The whole thing lowered down quite low to the ground for that
Yeah.
ramp to be flat-ish. And we turned her loose on Memorial Day weekend, and immediately realized the freshwater tank is like 225 gallons, and this supplies water for the sinks and the toilets. There's sort of an RV-style toilet that has a flapper valve, but it has fresh water, flushing and rinsing. The ADA stall actually has a bit of a residential toilet with a tank and everything, where it's just like at home, where it's got water in the bowl and you flush it down, it macerates, a little pump kicks in, and you can hear it like grinding things in to the tank. But it's really using fresh water, quickly, and the need to keep that tank full became our first and biggest priority. The black water tanks, there's 2 of them, two 300-gallon tanks, so a total of 600 gallons of waste tankage. And that, we didn't, it was, there's a little meter to check how full it is, and every day checking it was 1 dot on Friday, and then 2 dots on Saturday, and then 3 dots on Sunday. And so it was about half full after the busy Memorial Day weekend, the Blackwater tank. And we thought, hey, this is great, we won't have to be pumping this every day. This whole thing is new for us, so we don't know how it's gonna go. Well, it was still reading about half full. I've been, actually went out of town on Wednesday of last week, and it was not there when it needed to be pumped because there was some malfunction between the tanks. There's an interconnectivity. They're sort of equalized, or they're designed to like flow together and fill equally. The one 300
You're talking
gallon.
about the two collecting tanks?
Yeah, the two
Okay.
black tanks. One is for the ADA stall and like 2 of the ladies' toilets, and the other one is for the other ladies' toilets and the men's stall. And there's a tube at the top of the tanks that when the one is fuller, it goes to the other one. Well, something must have happened in that connecting tube, that there was a clog and there was an overflow situation where on the ADA side, the waste didn't escape into the trailer itself, it leaked between the toilet connections in the tank. I wasn't there was a little smelly puddle under the trailer on Thursday, even though the tank meter was only reading like slightly over half full. There was like something's not right, we need to pump this right away. G&G was super great, came right down. There's 2 big valves out back to pump it out with. They pumped it out. They only took out about 400 gallons, so it wasn't, full, but there was an I've been now in contact with the manufacturer quite a bit on what went wrong, and it's still unknown, which is unnerving, but the theory is that there was a lot of paper product, a lot of solids that plugged that interconnecting tube, and so the one tank was full, let's say the northern tank, and it burped. And lucky it rained, because it all went away. It wasn't any solids, it was just a bit of a liquid puddle. But the tanks were pumped, fresh water was added. It's great to have G&G, because they're just great.
They know this equipment, or?
No, they're
they
figuring it out with us.
Okay.
But they've been really positive about it. They're happy to help.
So how do you fill the fresh water?
We were ponying it down in like a transfer pump, like 55-gallon barrel, and pumping it in with a little
Right.
half-horse transfer pump, and it's just not the way to go. We need a hose.
Connected to
Dedicated
Lake
hose.
Superior.
It turns out, just yesterday, that the business owner right across the street at Sydney's Frozen Custard, who is in the process of cleaning his site and preparing to move his operations, was like willing and able to offer his municipal water hookup to string a hose across the street and fill the tanks up.
Oh, well,
And
that's
so hats off to Mr. Bruce Block
Oh,
nice.
for saying yes to our desperate request to use his water. And it's still a jumper hose. It's only 150 feet away. So we roll out a
Yeah.
couple 100 feet hose,
Wow.
we fill up the tank, then we roll it back up.
and then his bill is transferred.
It's credited. We'll
it's
work that out
The
later.
city.
Yeah, no, he's,
It's the
he's
city.
going broke.
Well, and so I also have an email
That's
and
lucky.
a feeler out to Cobblestone Cove Association.
I see.
Because they
Oh, on the
too,
same side
they're
of the
even
road.
closer.
Yeah.
And there's a hose bib on their southeast corner of their building, actually, I mean, literally like 50 feet away
Sure.
Right.
is a hose that is on, but I need permission from the Cove, and they're in a association.
Yeah. Well,
And so I
That'll take a
sent an
while.
email to the president of that association, I haven't heard back. So it's lucky in the meantime, Bruce has stepped up and said, you can use my water.
huh.
'Cause
Well,
that-
we know a lot more about temporary bathrooms than we did before.
Well,
It's a learning experience here.
It's-
Right.
it's right up
This
there
is-
with the
right.
golf course, I think.
Yeah.
So what about cleaning? How's that going with the park
Okay,
staff?
because of the staff's attitude, and we've adopted this thing as Bathhouse 5,
Oh,
right? Because of our, the park
Sure.
1, 2, 3, 4.
yeah.
And so just early on, I called this thing Bathhouse 5, and everybody's on board with it, at least from what they appear. That we've got dedicated cleaners. Jennifer Kronberg actually is like a part-time custodian for us that's got flexible hours, and she's really said, I'll deal with this in the evenings, you guys deal with it in the mornings. Lenny's street department crew is available for cleaning Monday through Friday, so his staff is doing the morning cleanings and opening it up. Our staff is doing the evening cleanings and locking it up.
So it's not 24/7.
Nope, we're locking it at night, approximately 8 PM. The Lenny crew is opening at 6 AM. It's going okay.
And it's here until,
We own it. We own it.
Until
will
the
it
end of the
stay
season.
there?
Yet to be determined.
Okay.
We've kept, there's 2 porta potties nearby in the same parking lot.
Yeah.
Typically, we put out like 4 to 6 porta potties in that parking lot. And so the idea was this was gonna replace those porta potties and be the temporary solution to the lack of city hall restrooms. And we've just, out of caution and consideration, we've kept those 2 porta potties behind it in Boulder Park as a like backup, because we had to lock it up last Thursday. When it
Don't
was
say the
so-
word backup around porta potties.
Yeah, well, around this trailer. But I think it's prudent to keep a few porta potties nearby for the 24/7 option. And we're pumping this thing out or we're cleaning it. Actually, we got to put out the closed signs when we're cleaning it, so
Right.
I think it's worth the $600 to $800 a month that those 2 porta potties are gonna be costing us. So we're gonna keep them there.
So is there any signage that is in town to the new thing, or just by chance people just walk by it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought that's how it was. Because if you put a sign up, probably everybody would go to it.
At a minimum, the people that visit Cook County should be prepared to refer people over there.
oh, yes, businesses know about it, Visitor Bureau knows about it.
Yeah, no, that's, okay.
It's got big yellow restroom signs on it. It's pretty obvious.
And there used to be
Porta potties.
porta potties there,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. And honestly, the few times that I've been down there working on it, there's been great reception from users. The first day I was there, and gal comes up, oh, is this you? Are you in charge of this? I'm thinking, oh boy. here we go." No, I love it. We love it. Thank you. Running water, thank you. And that's
That's great.
been, my staff's had that same experience. So we're doing the best we can with it. It's doing okay, but we're still worried about this tank flooding, pumping scenario. We're probably just gonna schedule G&G for like Mondays and Fridays.
Yeah, for that price, it should work flawlessly.
Is there any
Seems to
warranty on
me.
something like
Yeah,
that? It's like a
all-
month,
yeah,
it's like a
there's
week old.
There's a 1-year warranty. It's not it's not like a hole in the tank though. It's just too much paper product.
I mean, have they had that issue before?
Yeah.
They have.
No.
So it's possibly just a
Design.
bigger hose or bigger connection or something.
Yeah, they've supplied me with lots of like tips and, best practices, like more fresh water is what it takes. Like when we're pumping it even to like put water in the toilets as we're pumping it, because it's just naturally like accumulating more solids and that's just the nature of it, and we need more fresh going down. And we've been conservative with the fresh because of the inconvenience of providing
Hauling
it.
it.
But now that we got a dedicated hose,
That's great.
we can really keep things flowing.
And then, of course, probably more,
Over there by the window.
more cleaning, more
Hiding,
this, more
okay.
that, July,
Oh,
August.
no
I mean, it's
doubt.
huge.
That's where we felt lucky to get through Memorial Day weekend, because town was packed.
Yeah.
And it was like a July weekend.
Yeah.
For what we saw for volume and use, and so we were relieved that it made it through that weekend. But yeah, once July and August hit, it's gonna need much more attention.
Yeah.
Have we exhausted this subject?
Sorry, you
I
can
think
tell
so.
what we've been working on. Too much. And then finally, the biggest, best news is the ribbon cutting ceremony at the landing, the Overlook Landing, a week from this Friday. So the 14th of June, 3 PM. I'm sure you've gotten the invitations.
We did.
We'll be posting it as a public meeting so we can all gather and.
It took me some extra effort to put it on my Facebook page. I could only,
Thank you.
I had to cut and paste twice.
Yeah, I don't do Facebook. but thank you.
Well. and
Tell
it
all
might-
your friends and neighbors.
There might be other Facebook or similar pages to which that might get sent.
Great, more the merrier.
Well, except the only one I'm familiar with is Facebook, and my page, not the community page, not, et cetera.
Yeah.
It'll get on there somehow.
Patrick will take care of it, right? Good, see? I
Is
saw-
the sign gonna be,
It's in my office, we're installing it
Oh,
tomorrow or
sweet.
when it
Cool.
stops raining.
great,
Yeah, the interpretive George Morrison panel is in-house and ready to be installed. It'll be in place before next
Wonderful.
week.
Great news.
Yeah.
Now, on the 14th, if you're there, he's asked me to do 2 minutes, and I'm perfectly willing to do 2 minutes. And a piece of that will be introducing the two of you and the other board members who show up.
I'll raise my hand.
okay.
I will, yeah, when you hear your name.
Right.
Yeah, so that's true, Steve. I've got a loose kind of speaker, lineup right now, getting the agenda or the
Yeah.
lineup in place. We've got Mayor Benson, obviously. We've got Chairman Aldrich, Mary Somnus, who's the past president of the CEC and really instrumental in the IRRB funding, is speaking. Linda Jurek from the Visitor Bureau /Chamber /Highway 61 Steering Committee. CJ Fernandez, the designer, landscape
Oh,
architect, unconfirmed. He's hoping and trying to make it, but he's got lots with family business and yet to be confirmed is CJ. Jan Severson, I think, might just follow on Mary's remarks as the current president of the CEC. Just some brief statements. But then really, I told Jan, let's have an open mic at the end of the show for anyone that feels compelled to speak. Like it's casual, we're expecting a diverse crowd, and I would give anyone the opportunity to speak up at the end
Any
of the
more?
show.
Morrison?
Brian, yeah.
Brian's invited, he's, I think, attending, he's like confirmed his availability. I haven't
Great.
spoke personally, we've emailed, I expect him there. I put out the offer for speaking and/or playing, and he hasn't confirmed that, but
Oh.
yeah, it'd be great to have a word from him as well. Hazel Belbo will be there,
Oh,
Good.
nice.
Stacy Drouard,
Good deal.
and so, yeah, we'll have some light refreshments. Hopefully Patrick and Alyssa from the City Hall staff are gonna be helping me out with the catering, similar to what the City Hall liquor store ribbon cutting, when they had some charcuterie boards and,
Wow,
yeah,
you're gonna do that all in the
nearby, around.
little tent?
Possible, not so much, maybe down to the pavilion at the marina after, if it's
Oh.
raining.
Oh,
We don't have a rain
plan.
plan, so it better not.
We're
rain.
going to though,
Well, it's the pavilion at the marina.
and now we have a rain plan.
It's gonna be
And
beautiful.
umbrellas.
Gonna be beautiful.
Good.
All right,
Flag
well,
day.
is there any more old business? Hearing none, is there any more new business?
Curious
Here.
about the next meeting, scheduled. Would be July 2nd, I believe. And I just wondered, is that,
Because I'm not gonna be anywhere else, but if,
Works for me.
I
What
just
day
didn't
is
know
that?
because of the 4th, the 4th's in the middle of the week, which is weird, but,
Yeah,
how
I'm
about
fine
if we
with
do
it.
this? Let's assume we'll proceed with July 2nd.
okay.
Check, if you will, with Craig and with Bob to make sure that they're okay with that.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Okay,
and if we won't get all of them, then we'll just automatically agree to meet on the 9th instead of the 2nd.
There you go.
yeah, I'm a maybe.
Okay, any other business?
For the
There being
second.
none?
Hit the gavel, use the gavel to. Thank you.
You know, I used a gavel once in my 14 years on the bench.